It's been a season that was kind of weird, though. In a way, it was almost predicted. But the problem is with the loss. A lot of people predicted us to be 9-3 this year, and we're right on pace for that. It's going to take a heck of a back half of the season. If we could reverse what USC did last year, winning the first half of the season, we can see that happen. We're going to have as many calls as we can take. But for right now, Preston, your initial thoughts really quick.
Initially, Tim, I feel today like most of the people in the fan base probably feel I'm just tired of being in college football purgatory. Either heaven or hell. I'm tired of it. We had the game in hand. It's another 3-point loss. It's another loss in the last game, the last play of the game. And yeah, man. I mean, major takeaways. I think our defense is good enough to beat these Big Ten teams. I mean, I think they played a great game. I think there's a lot of plays that we could have had back last night, especially Miller Moss late in that game. Missed a couple throws to kind of clinch the game, get us in a better field position. And some of the play calling from Riley was also a little bewildering to me. But yeah, man, we could discuss it. And
so let's talk about it. You were talking about the play calling and issues with the play calling. What was it about the play calling that had you a bit concerned?
Well, okay, two things, right? To start overtime and not run the ball on first down, that killed me, right? That was the one. And then secondly, the end of the fourth quarter, 1:55 left in the game, to let the clock run from 40 to 14. I heard Riley speak after the game saying he was really believing in Michael Lance's leg and they wanted to get one more shot, but we never called a timeout. Penn State called the timeout with 14 seconds left on the clock. So I'm asking, like, Link, at what point were you going to call a timeout to get that one shot to get in a little bit better field position for Michael Lance? Because you never called the timeout. James Franklin called the timeout 14 seconds left. So, and getting away from the tight end running back chips on the ends and chips on the edges. I was working the whole first half, working most of the game. We completely went away from that. And in certain series in the fourth quarter and in the third quarter, Miller started getting hit. 11 started dipping on Mason Murphy, and we weren't able to finish the game. So that's my opinion on the play calling there. I don't know why we went away from the run. I don't know why Quentin Joyner had 3 carries and 2 touchdowns. I wanted us to get 30 carries on the day. I think we ended with 24, but just went away from what was working. Nothing we haven't seen before. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that the fans are going to have questions about the play calling as well. Towards the end, though, I did see what he was doing. He was playing basically not to give them the ball back. He said in the press conference that he was happy with the way Michael Lance was kicking the ball, which becomes, it is what it is. And he was playing for a winning field goal. And to be honest, a better throw and there would have been a long field goal attempt, because really, Deuce had room to get another 4 or 5 yards and get down.
He was there.
We would have like about a 45-yard field goal again, kind of like we saw in overtime for the win and regulation. By the way, guys, that and the front door alarm and the carbon monoxide things going right now, as well as the fire alarms, are all being reset. The guys are at lunch right now, so we might be having to hear a beep for the next hour. So we'll figure that out as well. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, it's Russ from San Diego.
Hey Russ, how you doing, man?
Well, another Saturday in the books.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'll just jump into it. There's one thing I wanted to address, and a couple things. First off, we are being, I think, a little too easy on our defense, and we need to sort of be realistic about what the defense is right now. The defense is a much improved tackling team, but that's sort of about it. We're better at tackling in space. We play somewhat emotional. We still get no pressure on the quarterback. So, that's one side of the trenches that is, the part of the component about, why this stuff keeps happening. But, I want to single out one play yesterday, that double halfback pass, or not, the double pass that ended up going to their tight end for their first touchdown after the half. I mean, that should have been intercepted. That was a duck. That tight end pulls it off the back of the helmet from, whoever was covering him.
Yeah.
And
Zion Branch.
when I see this, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like we start talking about like, well, the defense played good enough to win. It's like, I do agree to an extent, but if you looked at today and you didn't know that we didn't have Alex Grinch, like, what has changed? This is another random guy that has 1 million receptions, like the ASU fullback, like Dalton Kincaid. It's just another day where one player, had 1 million catches for 1 million yards and set some record. And then, he's going to be able to pat himself on the back for this day for the rest of his life. So,
all right, Russ, great points. Let us jump in for a little bit. All right. So first off,
sure.
This team is pretty banged up on defense. If I were to tell you these are excuses. Injuries are football, man, and it's the way it is. Injuries are football, and but this team is banged up. Jacoby Covington out of the game. Keely Arnold clearly not 100%. Anthony Lucas playing injured, ended up getting injured at the end. You have Eric Gentry, the heart and soul of this team, out of the defense. This is a wounded defense, and I thought this was going to happen later in the season. We are not deep on either side of the ball. We know that. Why? I'm not going to give them a pass. I mean, this is year 3. There's a transfer portal. There's a lot going on where that can be addressed and can be fixed. But yesterday you did see true freshmen playing. I mean, this defense is, and by the way, playing amazingly well. By the way. But you saw true freshmen getting into the game. They're banged up. And I'm with you, though. I mean, you had 2 opportunities. Lincoln Riley talked about his press conference. They had 2 opportunities, guys. 4th and 7, 4th and 10. You just got to get it done. Yeah, you have to close the door. And they didn't. What are your thoughts, Preston?
Yeah, freshman Devin Stevens with the interception. I think we're playing above our heads. We're shorthanded. But the only gripe I have with the defense, right, is, I mean, we saw later on they put Kamari, they tried to get Kamari Ramsey on 44 because he was just unstoppable. Like, I don't know if I'm looking at Lynn or if I'm looking at Belk or Taylor Mays, but we have to make that change and that adjustment sooner because the guy got 17 receptions. The next closest one had 4 or 3 receptions. So, you got to adjust quicker when the guy's really killing you like that all over the field. And I want him to pass the ball, and they beat us through the air. It's what happened. I can't lie. They beat us through the air. Yeah,
they were able to shut down the run again, which was amazing. But if you go and watch Trojan Blade, he had a great breakdown. And if you the preview show that he had for the game, he talked about covering. Hey man, whatever you do, stack him up, cover him, put a bunch of guys on 44, just don't let him beat you. And that's what Trojans exactly did. They let him beat them. And on the end zone throw, I mean, look, sometimes you just got to say it was a great play. I get it. You want him to turn around, make a play on the ball. It's true. But you got to give it. It's not like USC is the only team having trouble with this guy. Now, USC turned it into a career day for this guy. But, I mean, I'm not even remotely close. Are you serious, by the way, Russ, about you think this is a Grinch defense?
I didn't say it was a Grinch defense. I'm saying if you looked at the statistics of what happened yesterday, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between it being a Grinch defense and not a Grinch defense. This had all the hallmarks of, we regressed heavily towards that direction.
Well, I would say this. I didn't see a bunch of explosive plays. Did you? I didn't see. I mean, that was a trick play. I get it. You got to defense it. You got to play sound. You have to know your assignments. You can't break down when they put a little bit of window dressing on it. I get that point, but I'm thinking back to like Utah, for instance, right? And the team is up and the way that happened. I'm going to not excuse it, but I am going to remind you that at the end of that game, there was no Anthony Lucas. That's huge. Bear Alexander decided to take off. You have Gentry out of the game. You have Covington out of the game. So on those 2 4th down plays, it was pretty crazy to watch, and it was difficult to watch. But they also got some home cooking again from the refs. I mean, really quickly, there was already a first down. They got the first down. But I'm gonna try to pull up that someone had a clip on Twitter of that ridiculous roughing the passer call. But any other thoughts, Russ? We gotta get moving. Anything else for you?
Yeah. I'll just say something about the refs too. Is that I know that we need to jettison this 1950s level of thinking where no matter how bad the refs blew it for us, that we're supposed to be okay and
Thank you.
because golly gee, guys,
thank you.
We should have won by 21 points.
Absolutely.
We didn't want the refs to cost us the game. How did we not score 4 more touchdowns? So I have a solution that we need to propose, because if we just keep coming out and saying refs are part of the game, nothing's ever going to change. So what I suggest is every Monday we have a press conference and we do like a 30-minute breakdown where we show all, we just put the referees on blast. We need a PR campaign to lean on the referees, to lean on the Big Ten for them to do better, because if things just stay the same right now, nothing's going to change. And if you think this is like not fair play or something, I mean, guys, Nick Saban spent more time on the Congress floor than half our congressmen did arguing to like make the SEC better. Like Tennessee, every single time they had a problem with the NCAA, they freaking go to a judge. They go to a federal judge and have this judge do what they need to do. So I just think we need to be more proactive. The refereeing has been so egregious for us, and it's happened so many games in a row that we have to start making a bigger deal about it, or nothing's going to change.
Good point. And here's the thing, though: you're in a conference, so you're fined. There will be issues. You can't come. There's things. There's vehicles in place. You cannot go right at the officiating. You're not going to be able to do that. But what Riley is doing is he's kind of subtly saying, without directly criticizing, he's like he talked about it at the scrum after the practice last week about what happened in Minnesota and how they absolutely just changed the rules on them. He is doing what he can. It's not like they're pretending like nothing's happening. I mean, but that's
violent, Sam. That's violent.
Is it yours? Well, someone else repurposed it then. But yeah.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying it's violent, even though he barely hit him. I was making a joke, but yeah.
Got you. I thought you said it's mine. Sorry, my bad. No. Yeah, this is look at great acting. That's just a soccer player in England clapping right now with that fall. I mean, you have to realize that USC is going to get there's for whatever reason. I'm not going to say it's conspiracy. Maybe it's just bad luck, right? Maybe it's just really bad luck that we're not getting any of these calls, but it's weird. If they were blowing calls like this, like Minnesota, like Michigan, I mean, I freaked out about the holding. I was showing pictures all over the place about holding. There is no holding in this conference unless you Woody, unless you tackle somebody, you're not going to get called for holding in this conference. It's not. So I've moved beyond that for all you Big Ten fans. I get it. It's not called. But it's funny. You know what? When we talked about these plays, guess what, the PSU fans said? We're getting held all game. It's like, yeah, I know. It's the Big Ten. Welcome. Haven't you been here for a while? This is what happens in the Big Ten, apparently. At least in every game that we're participating in. So holding is not called. That was not roughing the freaking passer, which added 15 more yards on that play. Russ, thanks for calling in. We got to get moving. Appreciate you supporting us all the time.
Thanks.
Great call.
Yeah, fight on, boys.
Fight on.